I'll tell you what I'm drinking when I'm ready to tell you what I'm drinking. All right?
It sounds just like my mum.
I'm in a bar and I'm drinking hee-haw because there's nobody behind it. It's absolutely devastating.
It's like 5 o'clock. It's like drinking time.
11 minutes past 5. I should be on my third drink by this point.
Get your own drink.
Actually, I am quite tempted. Wee bottle of Loch Lomond 18 clean right in front of me.
Lads and lassies, welcome to another episode of Not Another Whisky Podcast. I am your main host today, Mr. Nicholas Pollacchi, back from A Vengeance. Let's do that all over again. That was a shit show because clearly I'm out of whack. I am your guest host today, Mr. Nicholas Pollacchi, joined by Mitch Bouchard and Daz Halden. And believe it or not, we've made it to episode 200.
Yes. Good to have you back, mate.
Hi. It's great. It's good to see you. Good to see you. Because I missed my little time when you kicked me off and took control, Pollacchi. That was a strange year.
It was. Well, the listeners of the show refer to that as the heyday, but you can call it whatever you want, Daz. And I didn't kick you off. You self-evacuated.
I don't want to go
shit.
into it.
Yeah, I don't want to go into it.
I don't want to go into it. Not today. Not today. Today's a celebration.
Today is a celebration. I'm glad you dressed for the occasion. Fucking hell, are you homeless now?
I know.
Thank you very much.
Again.
This is my off-duty chic.
I'll tell you what, well, the last time I saw you, Daz, you had a bow tie on, so this is a little bit different. Now you got a baseball cap. From bow tie to baseball cap. What happened? Is this what happened after like 4 days in America?
Do you know, I can go any way, right? I can go
So it says on the toilet wall.
Yeah, it does. And or I can go as low and casual as you wish. So today, because I'm amongst friends, I thought I would just go for the casual look, you know?
Fair play.
You're looking. I've got to say, you're looking a bit more Finn Russell than you normally do today.
He's great. That's why he's my idol. Swaggering about, knocking balls about, little back passes and that. Quality.
Hey Mitch, what are you looking like? Is things been well for you? You're looking well, kinda. I mean, you're already drinking, yeah, so you're one up on Daz. So
it's looking quite hairy for a change.
You are looking quite hairy. Is that? Are you on the Rogaine?
Do you know, I need to get this cut off. You're right, I'm looking like a fucking hippie, man. And because I've been wearing a hat today, it's kind of sticking up. It looks like the other half of Velcro. It's really shit.
You've got like a Tintin-esque point at the front.
A little bit, right?
I can't believe you didn't get cancelled. I'm going to put it out there to start the episode off. I cannot believe you've not been cancelled.
We've been trying.
Should we start there?
We've been trying, mate.
Should we start with the complaint letters that Mitch clearly has framed behind him?
What's it, the podcaster's version of an ASBO?
Exactly. The FCC have already written in like that. Cease and desist.
200 episodes, man. That's crazy. I can't believe we've got here. I think we did chat a little bit about this at the start of the year. But yeah, we thought we'd make it a little bit special, bring all three of us on for 200 episodes in and kind of talk about our journey a little bit. And yeah, the cool thing is we've got a load of comments and questions from you guys that we'll get them all through. So we're going to intersect them throughout the show and I'll be reading those out. But yeah, like Nicholas said, you're going to be hosting it, my friend. This is all you. We're just going to sit back and drink whiskey.
Navigating the seas. I'm not quite hosting. I'm just, enjoying the banter of two friends. It's funny because I spoke to Mitch. We speak, every other month or so for a proper catch up. But I actually got to hang out with Daz in New York a mere 2 weeks ago, maybe 3 weeks ago.
We haven't talked about this on the show yet. So spill the beans, man. What happened? I heard you're up for a mad one, and Daz bumped you.
Pretty much. I don't get let off the leash very often. So I came into New York City. Actually, it was very kind. Daz, I basically invited myself along to an event that Daz was already hosting and made him set a table place for me at a very high-end, swanky VIP event. And I just rolled up Like, it was a very Dumbarton move, wasn't it? Let's be very clear. I just invited myself along the day before and showed up dressed to the nines and got to sit next to Mr. Simon Brooking and Daz on the other side, and the rest of the room was filled with a lot of kind of fine people and collectors of great spirits, predominantly Bowmore drinkers, and we got to drink some, I mean, ridiculous Bowmore. I will give you that, Daz, for you pulled out all the stops. I mean, you can't make a tasting, Matt, for shit, but you can pull out some damn good whiskies.
That's not my area of expertise.
That's it. There you go. True Halden fashion. Hunting the buck.
Yeah.
There you go. There you go.
All I've got to do is get there 10 minutes early and no later than 10 minutes late, right? And that's my remit.
And we were 3 cocktails in by the time we rolled up as well. We've been drinking tequila, egg white sours at the bar. I know.
By the way, right, let's talk about that. So
let's talk about
the addition on the Madison Park Square, right? Hotel. It's got a lovely wee bar in it, and I really like it because it's quite little and it's just energetic. It's like a proper hotel lobby bar. People come and go all the time, and you can see anybody in there. When I was in that week with you, one of the ice hockey teams, one of the New York ice hockey teams was staying. It's not the Rangers, it's the other one. I don't know what they're called. Anyway,
the Islanders were in.
The Islanders were in, right? So it's one of those kind of places. It's just hustle and bustle. Anyway, I'm standing there, half expecting a wee Scotch old fashioned to land in front of me. And Mr. Pollacchi, who's been in America for far too long, clearly orders basically a tequila white lady. And I saw him it got served to you because you'd ordered yours first. And I was just like, I'll just have whatever you're having. I'll have a wee feel it out. And I was not disappointed. Very tasty drink. Enjoyed that very much.
That way. Mm-hmm. If they're made right, and actually they're one of those drinks that if you get one, 4 or 5 other people in the bar will ask you about it because it's made with like real egg white. So the bartenders are cracking eggs into your drink. And like, what's going on here?
That's exactly what happened. I mean, the
4
couple
or 5, people started ordering them up. I know. Yeah. Trend setting still to this day, Daz. Still trend setting.
So it's great to see it in action.
What I want to know, though, before we move away from this subject, so then you guys sat down, you did the tasting, and then what happened post-tasting then? Because Daz has told me that you were mad for it, Nicholas. And he was just like,
I was a little bit. I started getting going. I was like, right, let's get going. Well, it was probably just after midnight. I mean, this was supposed to be an event that ran from 7:30 till 9:30. Daz stopped talking at midnight. So you can imagine how excited the people that were attending that event were. Watch the man that gets paid by the work.
Still fucking there.
Holy
didn't
hell,
stop
man.
for one breath. And then...
To be fair, there was a whole ton of baller whiskies being poured out. I don't know if Daz you can share what the whiskies were, but they were insane.
Yeah. No, look, we tasted some great stuff. There was 25-year-old Bowmore, 18.
We started on 25 Bowmore. That was the first dram of the night.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
That shows.
I think that's a good starting point, when we're getting into those older, nice pieces.
I think so too. Yeah.
We went up to the 40-year-olds and we tasted a very special whiskey from the 1960s. So it was, look, the whiskies were amazing. The venue was cool. And afterwards, we just went back to the edition, didn't we, for a wee cocktail? And
back to the edition for a cocktail. And again, there's more famous people there. So I don't know if you know who this guy is, because did you guys ever get 30 Rock? Do you ever watch 30 Rock? It was a show that was put together. Tina Fey from Saturday Night Live put it together with Tracy Morgan. Like, the casting is amazing. Alec Baldwin's in it. But there's a guy in it called Jack McBrayer who plays a character called Kenneth Parcell, who's this kind of like simpleton, like living in the big cities. He's a page for NBC in the show. And he's got all these kind of like
geeky
very
guy, right?
He is quite geeky guy, right? So, but when I left Daz, like, I'm like going outside to kind of my hotel. I'm not staying in Edition. Daz is staying in Edition, like obviously dealing with Suntory dollars here, right? So he's pepped up in the night in Edition. I'm staying, 3 blocks north in the Royalton. And as I come out, just to kind of like put my gloves on, it's absolutely freezing outside. There's like 3 feet of snow outside the hotel. I'm just getting ready, and Jack McBrayer like leaves his table and is like leaving at the same time, and he's like walking out, and he just goes, "Oh, chili con carne," and then walks out the door. And it was like right out of the episode of 30 Rock. I was fucking pissing myself. I just stood in the little lobby like giggling away. I was going like, yes. I just thought, have a good night. He's like, yeah, you too. Stay warm. Chili con carne. I I was like, oh, fantastic.
Mate,
I couldn't make it up.
I thought you were going to say you ended up going for some PBRs with him somewhere. That would have been so Nicholas Pollacchi.
That would have been
celebrities.
I could tell he was getting into a car and getting himself up the road much smarter than I walked 3 blocks north and then stopped off at the Churchill for a nightcap myself, which was around the corner from my hotel. But like it was a bar that I used to go to. Actually, Andy Weir used to kind of go there all the time. So I used to meet Andy Weir at Churchill's for a beer and a dram.
Yeah, that was it.
Back in Balvenie days.
That was a big sort of William Grant and Sons haunt, wasn't it? Everyone from the office used to go there a lot.
Yeah, I think
Winston Churchill's speeches playing in the bathrooms, right?
I don't know. I wasn't hanging out in the bathrooms, Mitch.
Sure.
Who goes to a bar to listen to the speeches in the bathroom? Like, come on.
I didn't go to the bar and listen to the fucking
I don't think you've listened to the story. We started with 3 tequila cocktails. You think I was listening to the speeches in the toilet?
Well,
I was giving speeches in the toilet.
Yes, exactly.
I was like, and another thing.
You're looking good tonight.
Your bladder's not what it used to be, though.
Just standing in front of the mirror, giving myself a pep talk. Right, you. Whiskey's the name, Pollacchi's the game.
Right. Let's move on. Post New York,
Mitch. What have you been up to? Seeing as I've not actually seen you, like you have. I mean, 200 episodes. Obviously, you've been doing all your prep work to give us your best game for tonight. What does that look like?
I don't know, man. You're hosting. Daz said something. I mean, he's like, kind of got a bit of.
Do you know what's funny? See, before this, Daz called me and asked me, what's the most difficult guest we've ever had? And you're proven to take the #1 spot right now. Well done.
Yes. I honestly
don't know about that.
I couldn't agree more.
Do you know what? Do you know what I did, though? I did have a listen at our first ever episode, Daz. And it's fucking horrendous. It's so bad.
Is it?
Have you listened to it
this
recently?
episode?
It sounds like you recorded it underwater.
Yeah.
It sounds like you recorded it.
So for those of you who haven't been following us for the full duration or existence of the podcast, that was in April 2021, which is mental, isn't it? That's so. We're actually, although we're on our 200th anniversary, we're almost on our 5th year anniversary / birthday. Call it what you want.
200 episodes in 5 years. That sounds about on keeping with your output, boys. Yeah. 200 episodes in 5 years. Well done. Wasn't this supposed to be once a week? You knocked this shit out.
Well, yeah, it's actually. Do you know? It's more than I thought we would do. To be fair, because I do genuinely think. I remember when we started it off, he wanted to do a YouTube channel. I wanted to do a podcast. And I felt that the editing and all that.
You met in the middle and did a podcast.
and we met in the middle and did a podcast, and Mitch did all the editing.
All the fun of video editing and none of the activation on it.
I know exactly, and I'll be honest. I haven't edited one episode since we started this thing. And I don't know if you guys split it between you when you were doing it together, but I haven't done one. So publicly, I'd like to thank Mitch so much for editing 200 episodes. It must feel like he's edited 1,000 episodes with the nonsense that we've thrown at him over the years.
And you know the funny thing is, Nicholas, right? Daz is meant to be in charge of social media and he still can't fucking do it. One job, just one fucking job. It's just post a couple of pictures, stories per week, and he can't even get that right.
I know. I actually find it quite hard work. It's like keeping up with it after the post. After the post, it's brilliant that people engage and stuff, but you realise there's no point just putting stuff out there if you can't respond to the barrage of abuse that you get from people like Roy Sommer, Matteo, and all of those guys.
Let's name them all one at a time and give their home addresses. Right.
Honestly, it's
But on that point, boys, we did we put a little post out before we went live on this episode, so we've got quite a few comments, and I think the best way to do this is we'll split this up into these comments and comments, and we'll go through them. So the funniest one that I think we saw was Brendan McCarran asking, when is Brendan McCarran coming on next? Brendan. The answer to that, fucking never again.
I thought for a long time, I actually thought this was called Not Another Brendan McCarran Podcast. So I'm not even kidding. I was like, this is all the impersonations. It was like a one-man stand-up show. I mean, to be fair, for all the impressions he did, there were multiple guests with that one guy, so that was pretty good going.
It's a very useful. He's almost like the Swiss Army knife of podcasts, isn't he? Do you know what I mean? He just comes in.
You put him in a drawer and forget you've got him.
Well, he's a big drawer, by the way. That's a big drawer.
That's funny. So Brendan is not on this episode, but I'm sure you'll have him back on. He's a good lad, good banter, and it was always
absolutely.
It just like a good like just a wealth of knowledge as well throughout different categories. So always good to have those types of people on, because some guests have not been easy. Right, so sometimes you get some guests. Sometimes it's super geeky. We're not going to do that we're not going to create a hall of shame. But sometimes you're like, oh my god, like people that you know really well that are real good fun and real good laugh. And the minute you put a microphone in front of them, they freeze up, and it's just like it's difficult, because it's like you're trying to encourage to get some of that game, and they're trying to stay on brand message or whatever it is that gets into their head, and you're like that. I just need you to like have 3 cocktails and then come to the event. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Get 2 of those tequila white ladies in here.
Exactly.
I don't know. Actually, do you know? I do think it's true though. I always remember in my early days as an ambassador, even like as soon as someone puts a camera in front of you or a microphone in front of you, and you feel like you need to say certain things or say them in a certain way, it is so easy to like freeze up. I do find though, like. Yeah. Overall, we've been really lucky. People have been pretty authentic and haven't been too shielded or guided by brand teams, PR teams, and stuff like that. Indeed. But it's also not an easy thing to do. Do you know what I mean? Like, if you're a distillery manager, you're running your distillery, you've probably had a shite morning, something's come up, boiler's gone or something like that, and then you're like, I've got to do this hour with Daz and Mitch at 12 o'clock. I've not had my lunch. The boiler's gone.
Idiots.
I might get my jotters at the end of today. You never
Meanwhile, Mitch is flying a drone over your property. You're like that. Get the fuck out of here. You're like,
no certificate. Doesn't know how to fly
exactly. a drone. Shutting down airspace here. You're like that. Can you do me a solid and just get off my property?
Mate, it's when a distillery, podcast turns into a national security threat. Do you know what I mean? No one wants that on their watch.
The good thing is now I've got a drone with like safety guards around it, so I don't fuck it into anyone's head. And
that's good. Handy. That's a starting point.
Baby steps. You know what I mean?
Baby steps.
All right,
baby
but
steps.
Talking about awkward guests, we had Gary Mills come on. He
from Loch Lomond.
Good lad.
He's a great lad, yeah.
From Loch Lomond.
Absolute champion. Yeah.
His question, I like this one. What's been your most car crash moment during a tasting?
Ooh.
Well, do you know the one that stands out for me? We actually talked about this recently. We were at the Campbeltown Festival doing live events at the Campbeltown Festival with Glen Scotia. We were in the warehouses with Becky, Charlie McLean, and Ian McAllister. Brilliant, right? Absolutely amazing day. Mitch and I then run over to Springbank. But there's 2 things that had happened, right? So earlier that day in the morning, we bizarrely ended up near a Tesco or something. And unbeknownst to us, had ended up on site at Springbank, just wandering through the distillery. We actually got escorted off the grounds that morning, right? Do you remember that guy in the Hive? Aye, totally. Yeah. And he was not having any of it. Like, we were like, no, we're in the industry. Like, you should know better. No, he was raging. Like, absolutely.
Do you know who we think we are?
And then later that day, you're back on site trying to do like a event.
Totally right. So we do the Glen Scotia thing. We'd had a few whiskies, obviously, during the day. And we get there at 4 o'clock. And honestly, we sit down at the table. And within 5 minutes, I honestly think there was 16 whiskies on the table in front of us, just Mitch and I. The Hazelburn, Springbank, and Longrow, and all in front of us. And we're like, right, we're just going to have to taste all of these. It was like 5 whiskies on a paddle. I think there wasn't there?
Yeah. Oh, cask strength as well.
So it wasn't really like a car crash moment in terms of, like the tasting didn't go well or anything like that. It genuinely was. We'd had a few whiskies during the day, that amount of whiskey in front of us, and we were just really excited to be there in that washback bar and just having a giggle and stuff like that. And well, needless to say, I don't remember leaving Springbank. I remember getting kicked out in the morning. I don't remember leaving after the whiskies that evening. That's for sure.
We did have Spirit of Speyside last year. We did have a couple walk out of our tasting because they couldn't hear what was going on.
Yeah, we need to say sorry to them, actually. Yeah, that was okay though. It was a misunderstanding. They were sat at the back, couldn't hear what was being said at the front, and it was a live tasting, and there was a bit of, it's a live event, and on a Friday night, it's hustle and bustle. There's people chatting and having a good time, and maybe they had thought it was probably more like a listening, to everything that everybody is saying. So it's probably on us. And we did send them an apology.
Pollacchi, I've got one for you. I remember it was you and Sam Simmons.
Oh, this is in Vegas.
And you were doing all the Balvenie ton tastings, and stupidly, I don't know why you did this. You decided to pour each one out individually as opposed to have them pre-poured. And there was a guy, and he was fucking annoying. I was sitting right behind him because I wasn't in the tasting, but I was in the audience.
I know, I remember, and I know why we poured them one at a time. Because previously that day they'd pre-poured a room, and people were coming in and just knocking back whiskies. So whoever was hosting, it was all over the place because they you want whiskey tasting to be fun and enjoyable, right? That is primarily the goal. But if you're a presenter, you kind of want to still go up there and walk everybody through stuff at the same time, right? That's because if otherwise you're getting peppered with questions and folk don't know what you're talking about. It can derail very quickly. And Sam was like, we're going to do the ton 1401 tastings, but we're going to do them one at a time, because he'd been sitting watching this other car crash tasting going on. So this one guy was just fucking talking over everybody. So it didn't matter. Like when Sam was speaking, he'd be like, and here's what we're doing, and blah, 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 blah. And he'd tell you all the information you needed to know. And then this guy, when people were sipping, would be like, so what was the cask type was used? How many ages? Asking all the questions about everything that he would have just been told had he just not been talking over Sam. And he did it. And I think by the third whiskey, I just pretty much said, if you shut the fuck up for a minute, you'd hear what's going on. Everyone else knows what's going on. You're the one guy that's talking over everybody. And I'm pretty sure no one here needs to hear what you've got to say at this stage. And he was just like, what? And then he came up at the end and like was looking for a fight. He's like, yeah, well, I probably.
It wasn't. You said that, but what you said was, if you stop talking and listen to what we're saying, then you'll know what you're going to be drinking. And he went, oh, I've paid a lot of money to be here. And you turned around, and I'll never forget this, and you were like, aye, and so is everyone else in this fucking room, and they haven't come here to hear what you're saying. And that's what shut him up. That was brilliant.
Well, and I think at that point I'd 1 foot out the door already, so I wasn't quite worried about the job. I was like, I'd already registered my own company to go into corporation, so it's a little bit easier to this. And that is to this day why I am still my own boss. I always say I'm an excellent keeper of clients. I am a terrible employee. So. But for that, I think in that instance, that's one of those ones where you sometimes you just want to say what everyone in the room's thinking. And it did, like it changed the event. Like the rest of the event was brilliant because of it. But at the end of it, the guy was looking to like throw down in the hallway. And I was like, all right, very good.
Oh, well.
I was like, don't make me go Dumbarton on the new pill.
That's it.
That was a good one.
That was a good one.
So moving on to the next one.
I was going to say, the one that happened to me in Vegas that annoyed me the most was somebody cooking a bottle of 40-year-old Balvenie into a sauce, because he came out and just stole it. We were going to pour a bottle of 40-year-old for everyone to taste, and the chef came out of the kitchen 25 minutes before the event started, took the bottle of 40-year-old off the table, went into the kitchen and reduced it down into a sauce to go over scallops.
Which you can read all about in Not Another Fucking Whiskey book, available on Amazon now.
Oh,
plug.
Oh, look at that. Oh, I was wondering. See, I've got that in my notes to get to that in due course, but I wasn't sure when you were going to start plugging your own book.
Let's add a timestamp to that. Yeah, well done.
Exactly.
Well remembered.
18 minutes in. There we go.
18 minutes in is a personal best for you not talking about your book. Anyway,
Right,
next
so
question.
Whiskey Angel Scotland, who does run Fife Whiskey Festival, and she does a little talking about plugs. She says it's next week, which I don't think it will be by the time we put this out. And she also put Scotland's best whiskey festival. What is your most memorable whiskey festival that you've attended? Daz, what about you?
Yeah.
You love a festival. You kick this off.
The Fife Whiskey Festival is a good one. What would I've been to quite a few around the world actually, and like the States does a good festival. You know, they turn up in good numbers. They're usually pretty good. I always remember going to one. Is it the Binny's one?
One of the whiskies. That's coming up in April. In Chicago.
Yeah. And everyone steams into Delilah's afterwards for late night boozing. Yeah, that's a good one. I really enjoy that one. Out in Asia, Taiwan Whiskey Live always used to be unbelievable. And it reminded me probably of a Max Power car show. Like, it was just totally over the top, just like a 90s festival, the most 90s thing actually that you could ever imagine. And I had an event, I had a tasting booked in for Highland Park, right, with Jim Murray. And I get in there, right, and into this room, and I'll never forget it. And I knew that Jim was doing it, and I'd asked the team to cancel him for the tasting because I don't like the guy, right?
Before he got cancelled.
Way before, years before. This is in 2011 or something like that, right? Yeah. And I'm standing with him, and I'm just like, I really can't be arsed with this guy. He's a freak, you know, and he's like just slimy. I don't like the way he did things. I had an awkward conversation about it. Anyway, had to do the tasting, and he's still doing the tasting because it was the Taiwan team that had arranged it at the time.
Yeah.
And I've got the only bottle, right, of Highland Park Loki in the country. And that's what we're there to launch and everything. And remember, it came in that cradle with the Norse, like the long ship thing. Have you got one there?
I do.
Aye. Comes in the wooden thing and it opens up. So I've lifted it by one of the arms that comes up to the side. And as I've lifted it, it's opened up and the bottle's flown out. It's hit Jim Murray and smashed on the floor, right? And I'm standing there going, nightmare. That's the only bottle in the country. So the one thing that everybody was there to taste is now on the floor in a puddle. And it was quite embarrassing.
That's a very low-key moment. Yeah. Isn't it? If you think about it.
Yeah, low-key moment. Totally. Shapeshifter.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But stuff.
Dude, the good thing is, at least it hit Jim Murray on the way down, so that's a fucking bonus.
I know. Right? Totally, I know. That was a while ago. Yeah.
Do you know what? See that? I'm with you. See that festival in at Binny's? It is brilliant, and it's long, so it's a long day. It probably goes too long in my mind, but like it starts. What's nice about it is you get like an hour or two with trade people, so all the bars, restaurants, and other people that work in the booze business come to the event first of all, and kind of everyone's there, and it's a blast. And it's not like you don't turn up with big display booths and all the rest of it. They're like that. Show up, you'll be it's so busy. They're lucky if they give you a barrel end or like portion of a table. So you're basically everyone's the same. You don't even have a pull-up banner behind you. You're standing on the table, bottles in front of you, really basic. But because of that, everyone's kind of in the same playing field, and you're there for the booze. Like you're there. How good is your whiskey? Not how good is your display and your blah blah blahs. And the smoke and mirrors don't matter. And then afterwards, you go to Delilah's and you hang out with Mike and you get right on it there and everybody's there and it's a blast. But the next day they've introduced this thing that I've been doing. I did it last year. Myself and Alistair Mingus did it as well. It was brilliant. Longman and Eagle, and it's a dinner. It's an invite-only dinner that they've got. And it's about 50 or 60 people, and it sells out in a heartbeat. Like they've probably put tickets up now, it's probably already gone. And then I'll go along to it again this year. And you go from there's 3 rooms, and you stand up in front of the room, you talk about your one whiskey, and you do it in all 3 rooms, and you've literally got like a minute just to be funny and tell a story and let people drink your dram, and it is a blast because it's usually like legends from the industry. They get asked to present a whiskey, or like people that know what they're doing. And then for some reason they asked me to do it as well. So I stuck my way into the guest list of it all. But for the rest of it, it's like really good drams. It's usually something really unusual. Maybe for sale, maybe not for sale. Could be like a cask ensemble or something that's just really, really fun. And last year it was just absolutely brilliant. And the chefs are fantastic. Like the food that comes out of that kitchen is bullet. And if you've not been to Longman and Eel, hands down one of the best whiskey bars in the USA. Bring a good ball, yeah. Smash it in the
The
floor.
one I really liked, and we did this quite a bit. Nicholas, was the Scotch Malt Whisky Society Festival in the Rainier Club in Seattle.
Yeah, that was
Remember
cracking, wasn't
And
it?
all the guys used to come with their big fucking fishbowl glasses.
Yes.
They're literally almost the size of like fish bowls. And he used to pour these drams in, and they looked so stupid because they were so small in these massive glasses. But remember, he used to do like a little panel beforehand, and then like going out in Seattle was always fun. Just went out with all the other ambassadors afterwards and got absolutely smashed. It was always great.
Yeah, it was good. You could do a bottle trade at the end of that one as well. Like those SWA ones were brilliant. Scotch Malt Whisky Society, were brilliant.
Right, so let's move away from whiskey festivals. Gary Mills, actually, he did a double barrel one. He was a little bit cheeky here. Bit of a serious note. Do you think the categories within Scotch need revised? Specifically, single grain can be made from wheat, rye, or malted barley. Tells you almost nothing about the whiskey. And should Fife be a whiskey region? Who wants to take that one?
Oof.
I'll take the region. Fife, yeah. Love the idea of that. And not that, and regions are just a helpful guide, right? They don't give a huge amount of information, but I think it helps people break down, 140 distilleries into little sections that they can almost sort of compartmentalize and start to understand a bit better. So from a regional point of view, I think it is quite helpful. Just to help people understand where things are, what some of the little subtleties may be, and then they can find out more and realise, within Islay, you don't have to be smoky, but generally they are, etc., around the Highlands and stuff. So I think the Fife thing is a nice one because there's more distilleries there now. It's an interesting place geographically. The people are fabulous. Best people in Scotland come from there, of course, and that's it. And I don't really have any skin in the game on that one, particularly other than a super objective opinion.
Not much.
And then when it comes to grains, so Fife, yes. When it comes to Gary's so close to that because he's working on the Loch Lomond distillery whiskies. Yeah. Other than them, is there a need? Do you see North British and Strathclyde and these distilleries, Girvins and stuff like that, communicating lots and lots about what it is that they're putting in the bottles? Most of the grain distilleries aren't even creating a brand, which is a shame because actually I think there's great whiskey in there.
Well, I think that's the question. Would they create a brand if there was a category for them to play in? Would they produce? Would single grain wheat or single grain? And that's the thing, like single grain malt whiskey. Right, it's a bit confusing, isn't it? Because it's effectively single malt, but if it's not from a pot still, then they've got to call it single grain, which is probably is it Spearhead that they've got? Is that who's tried that? You guys taste that where they're using infrared toasted casks and stuff at Loch Lomond, and it's actually excellent. It's one of my favourite whiskies that I'd tried from them, from a kind of new release. It's really fun and it's relatively inexpensive, and it's delicious juice, like really, like it's made for mixing, it's made for cocktails, it's made for sipping, put it in an ice cube, whatever else you want to do with it. But it begs the question, like, and I think that is the bigger challenge, the SWA are doing their best to kind of put guardrails in place to protect the consumer, right? So that's everyone's trying to do their best. No one's out to get you, but from an innovation standpoint, those are often the two things that bump heads, right? People are trying to do stuff that's super innovative, and then it doesn't fall necessarily within the guideline categories that are currently available. Is there room to grow the categories? I think that's
Yeah, I think there is. Arbiki did it, right, with their rye, which I really liked. We looked at a rye years ago, I remember, at Highland Park, and one of the issues with rye is inside the stills, it can be a bit sticky.
Yeah.
So when you're running a malt program and then bringing rye in for almost like a 2-week or a 3-week period, sort of like you do with your unpeated stuff if you're a smoky distillery, or vice versa, you have that 3-week or 4-week window where you create something different. You could do that with rye, but it is a bit messy. It's a bit trickier. I worked a little bit on Stauning up in Denmark 4 or 5 years ago, and they're all rye, right? They've got most of what they produce is rye, but they do single malts and they can do other grains. It would be cool for us to be able to communicate it more. But Loch Lomond, I feel, are probably the ones who have got more skin in the game on that. And I'd love to get Gary's opinion on it, actually, because he'll know more about it. Him and Michael Henry, super close to those types of whiskies. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think any kind of evolution for Scottish whiskey is going to be a good thing, right? As we progress into seeing so many more whiskies being made around the world, anything that we can do to educate and also innovate is going to be beneficial to the category. As long as we don't push it so far that it's not recognizable as whiskey, then I don't think it's an issue.
Yeah. I think Japan have put out like 250 licenses in the last couple of years as well. Japan is going to be one of these. They'll have more malt whiskey production facilities than Scotland in the next year or two. So let's go into this one, right? So Mitch, here's one for you. Words Over Whiskey put out, what are some of your favourite, most prized bottles in your collections, and which distillery features most heavily in your back bar stock?
I mean, that's easy. It's Glenfiddich. But you know, I don't collect whiskey that much. I've got a few bottles behind, but I don't collect anything. I've got a couple from my Diageo days. Nice little close back 22. We Talisker from, like, it was a limited release. I think it's like a 30-year-old with like some kind of ship thing around it. You'd like it, Daz. Oh, maritime sort of theme. No pirates in there, unfortunately. A couple of nice Glenfiddichs. Two actually right there that are pretty sexy. That's a little vintage. And then I think the other one's like a 35-year-old or something like that. But yeah, I mean, I'm not big on collecting whiskey. I'm big on drinking it with people. Not a huge fan of collecting it. What about you, Daz? You must have quite a few over the years.
Yeah, I've got a few bottles knocking about. I had some really nice Macallans from a time there, some Highland Parks and things, and then a few nice Bowmores. But I'm sort of similar. I tend to open my bottles. I'm not one to sit and wait for a rainy day necessarily. You know, I would rather open them or share them. You know, gift them to people and things like that. And is that the Snow Phoenix?
Point. Yeah, I'm drinking a wee Snow Phoenix right now for a.
I don't think.
Dram.
Because all of you ex-William Grant's guys, you two, Big Struan, there's a few others that are obviously well known to all of us. I've drunk more Snow Phoenix than I have any other Glenfiddich, by the way. I don't know how many cases you guys all got each, but it's unbelievable.
Dude,
it's the house pour. It's the house pour in every ex-Glenfiddich Grand Ambassador's house, by the way.
That time we did that party over in Alcatraz, over in San Francisco. And we went into Buena Vista and we found out they were selling Snow Phoenix for like $3 a pop or something ridiculous. Suddenly we're like jumping on the ferry to go to Alcatraz, a bottle of Snow Phoenix inside both of us, you know. It was like,
we knocked back a bottle of Snow Phoenix before we went.
And then I think it was like the president of William Grant and Sons was on the fucking ferry with us, and we're trying to act sober, you know what I mean, going over and we're having a talk about whiskies over there. Yeah, that was a fun time.
I think that's a one-off. I think we're the only group that have ever done a whiskey tasting inside Alcatraz. Inside Alcatraz, like
the showers
took over everything, like the whole property. It was pretty cool.
Was that for your American Oak 14 lodge?
No, it was just like a party. Like we just did it. All the brands were there. Like somebody had far too much money that year in their budget, and nobody asked any questions, so went over and booked out Alcatraz.
The good old days. Yeah.
Do you know what it was? I think it was one of the marketing managers that went over to like just a personal visit, did a visit over to Alcatraz and got chatting to someone and said, "Oh, can you hire this place out?" jokingly, and they went, "Yeah, you can." So that's why it happened.
Man, we did. We needed a whole load of licensing to throw an actual booze party in it, but it was like. It was. I think they thought, "Oh, you're going to do like a private tour and come along with your group to learn about Alcatraz." We're like, "No, we want to have like a shindig inside your jail." Speaking about even collectibles, like I've got a Balvenie Ton 1401 batch number 1, which I haven't opened, and that's a good one to keep. But talking about whiskies that I've been working on and then actually put my own money where my mouth is and cracked them, I got a bottle of the Gordon and MacPhail Mr. George 4th edition, which is a 65-year-old Glen Grant, and it is absolutely baller. I think I brought some. We were drinking it in the car after the event, so that's what we did in the car. But I had a wee nip in my pocket, but I picked up a bottle of that, and I'm about halfway through it. So talking about like rare whiskies that I don't really. I'm kind of like you, Mitch. I don't really keep anything. I'm not got any good reason to keep anything. There's some stuff I've just not opened, and if somebody wanted them, they're more than welcome to come and take them off my hands. But I'm not emotionally tied to whiskies like that. Like for the best part, I want to drink them and taste them and let people kind of crack on.
Yeah, I think that's the way we're wired as ambassadors, right? It's like, yeah, just get involved, drink it. We don't really want to collect it. All right, so yeah, that was a good one from Words of Whiskey. Also, there was another good one from him as well. If you could be a distillery manager for a year of any distillery, which one would it be? And what would you want to do, stroke, accomplish that year? Whoa, that's quite a serious question. I don't know, I need to have a think about that. What distillery would you want to manage?
Bowmore. I'll just close it down.
Live on Island, though. Could you?
Just mothball it for a year. Fuck you, Daz. No, I'm only
dealing with all the old stock. He doesn't.
I'm only exactly.
Old stock stuff.
Exactly.
You'll have a fight on your hands with Mr. Turner. That's for sure. He's going nowhere. He's going nowhere. I think he's in his.
I'm not afraid of him. I've still got Jean-Claude Van Damme chasing me down, mate. I don't give a fuck about Mr. Turner. I'm only teasing. That's a great question. What would you take?
Go island. I would go island. Yeah,
you would.
Love to, yeah. Love to go and live on an island for a year and really understand like the culture of it and stuff. I think would be brilliant.
Yeah.
And Isla's a great place. Some of those locations up in the northwest as well, like somewhere like Rassay or something like that.
Yeah, Rassay or Harris or something.
Yeah, somewhere with like a beautiful view.
I'd go for that.
Yeah.
Highland Park or Scapa as well. Like I still love Orkney.
Scapa's a great setting.
Scapa's just baller. Like it's just one of those places. So that would be another one. That'd probably.
And you could live right next door as well. There's like a wee set of houses just at the side of the distillery that the workers used to live in, and it's just the views they've got on Scapa Flow is just unbelievable. Like I
don't know. What would I do with my thing? I'd write a follow-up to Not Another Whisky book.
The second part of this question, what would you want to accomplish that year if you're the distillery manager? I think it was for me, and I can probably speak for all you guys as well, just maybe not fucking burn it down would be a big accomplishment, right?
Yeah.
Have it still standing.
That's
a good question though.
Make nothing but single grain and not know what to call it.
So Gary Mills, he's on it. I'm going to make rye for a year, and I don't know why.
We're going to start our evolution with Gary Mills. What are we going to call it? We don't know.
No.
So we're all agreed we'll go to some remote island somewhere and just be a hermit for a while, right?
I've got a question for the two of you. Who would you like to interview? Not just necessarily a whiskey person. If you could have a guest on the show, right, that you could get time with, who would it be? And it could be something you both agree on, or just, and they have to be alive, not dead or alive.
I'd like. I reckon like a whiskey with like Barack Obama would be pretty cool.
Oh yeah, that's a good one.
I don't know if he drinks even. Really cool. But he seems
not
like
with you, doesn't he?
Good. Yeah. Not with me. No, definitely not. No, he doesn't have to sit next to me. We could do it on Zoom.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I think he does enjoy the drink. I think he does.
I think he's the kind of guy to be up for it. Yeah.
I would do Stephen Colbert. You know, he is.
Educate me. No.
Does like the talk shows, the late night show host out here, and but he is a whiskey drinker. Like and I know this for a fact. I shouldn't know this, but him and Jon Stewart, and so is Bruce Springsteen. And actually, that would be, if I could pick one between the three of those, sitting down having a dram with Bruce Springsteen would be brilliant.
Oh,
like he's and I know this because somebody asked us for a bottle of Balvenie once for him, and it was him and Jon Stewart were sitting having a dram, and Bruce Springsteen and Jon Stewart were sitting drinking a bottle of.
Is that right?
Balvenie back in the day.
I love a couple of his songs are right up there for me as well. Yeah, he would be a
good guy to sit and have a dram with. I think he would be a good.
What about sitting down with the entire band, Motley Crue. I reckon that'd be absolutely fucking insane.
Do any of them still drink, or have they all been told better?
No, they'll all be into yoga, drinking green tea every day, and all that. But they can talk about the times when they did have a few drams, I'm sure.
Well,
Did I ever tell you about the time that I met? Do you know who Sebastian Bach is from Skid Row? Lead singer. Mitch might know this. This is more Mitch's cup of tea. Still, you should look up Skid Row. But Sebastian Bach is this like proper like 1980s, early 90s rock star. Like lived the rock star dream. Like thin as a beanpole, long blonde hair, like down to like his backside, and like just a mad rocker. And I met him at a party. Like, oh my God. Like just talks. But so I met him at a party and had no idea who he was because I did not know who Skid Row were. And I'm sitting in LA and it was an outdoor bar, and he walks up. I was like, hey, how's it going? I was like, hey, how's it going? I'm Nicholas, chatting away about bullshit at the bar. But he speaks like he sings. So when you hear him sing, he's got this like amazing like rock and roll voice. And I came back and someone was like, how the hell do you know Sebastian Bach? And I was like, who the fuck's Sebastian Bach? I had to look him up on my phone. I was like, holy shit, I've just been speaking
on your BlackBerry.
On my BlackBerry. I had to send someone a page, and they text me back. Aye. So fun and games. LA living
indeed. Right, so this is a good one. So Greg's Dram page says he loved the Kickoff Distillery episode. Thank you very much. I wasn't a part of that, but anyway. Wait to see them get up and running soon. And
I don't think I was in that either. That's you guys. It's just you, Daz.
Yeah.
Just recently, yeah. We just did it at the end of last year. Yeah.
This is a great question. If you could choose one bottle to gift each other, and that's the last whiskey they'll ever taste, what are you picking? I'm going to go first on this one because I've got an answer for this one. For you, Daz, it's going to be Avangeric from Lewis. I love that.
Well, I almost burnt down an estate. Remember when I accidentally did a bit of a Richard Patterson and whizzed it at the fireplace, and then the whole thing went on fire. Set the mantle on fire.
We're staying in this like 12th century lodge that's been around forever, and fucking Daz almost burns it down. But I don't know if anyone's listening, tell us if that place is still running, because I've heard various stories about whether it's still in operation or not. But
Guy Marco, wasn't it, that owned it?
I'm not going to say too much about him because he was a bit of a scary guy. Might come and find me.
Yeah, totally. That was a strange place. Oh, a bottle of whiskey I would give you. I mean, to be fair, I do think because I'm working on it. Well, it isn't. I think because I've been working on it quite a lot recently, I would just go for a Black Bowmore if I could give you a whiskey. That's what I would do. I'll put Black Bowmore for you.
I like the way you cleared that up at the end.
Just making sure you know. Yeah.
I'd just give you an empty bottle. If that was the last one I could if that's the last dram you're ever going to get, I can give it to you. Empty bottle. Well done, boys. Enjoy.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter. You can choose any empty bottle you want, guys. Right? That's how generous I'm going to be.
But it was like that. It was like that one I saw that Dr. Nick Morgan posted the other week. That Queen's Port Ellen 12-year-old, the pear-shaped one. And those empty bottles keep doing the rounds on eBay and everything like that. It's amazing. People actually spend money on empty bottles. It's mad. I would give you a full one because I like.
Then they fill them up with exactly whatever they want.
Yeah.
Put them right back on eBay with an extra couple of zeros at the end of
it. What about you, Nicholas?
It's a great question. I think, honestly, I'd give you both a bottle, because I know you've not had it, a bottle of Shibui 10-year-old pure malt each.
Yes.
There you go. Yes. Talk about cheap plugs, but I'll take it. Which is our most awarded whiskey, and it's pretty fucking good malt whiskey, to be fair. I'd give you both a bottle of that. That's a good one to take with you. Often.
How's that been going, by the way?
Doing very well.
Busy with that?
Busy, busy. It's just one of those times, they just non-stop. USA, we're looking at other markets, looking at expanding out and just making a bigger footprint. I think that's probably got to be the next best steps for the business, I'll be candid, USA is you'll know this yourself, Daz, like the USA is tough at the moment for selling whiskey, especially anything that carries a substantial price point. It's been a bit of a as you all know, listeners from around the world, the USA has been a bit of a roller coaster for getting whiskey into the country, getting whiskey out of the country, and all the rest of it. So hopefully we will find a clearer path for that in the future that will benefit. Specifically, I hope it benefits single malt Scotch whiskey. Get some plans in there and start looking at erasing some of these tariffs that don't tend to do anybody any good and have massively increased the prices out here to customers. So it'd be nice to see that disappear over the next.
Good old tariffs.
Yeah, just look, and we're not a political show, so that's not what we're trying to get into. But I think that from just talking about what's important to the Scotch whisky industry, it is important to the Scotch whisky industry, and the USA is a very important market. So I'd like to see us find a better way to trade specifically on whisky. And I think there's a job to be done there with our elected officials to go out there and bang the drum a little bit louder than they have been from the UK standpoint. So let's see what they're made of.
100%. All right, so this is a good one. So this is from, I'm not sure if it's Stuart's Share Law or Stuart's Her Law, but anyway, Stuart writes, what's the weirdest and most exotic place you've been asked to do a tasting, and by whom?
I've done weirdo. I mean, I've done a whiskey tasting, obviously, further afield. I've done stuff, and the weirdest whiskey tasting I've ever done was at Sheremetyevo Airport in Moscow, and I'd been all around the world. Talk about pre-pouring whiskies. I'd been all around the world doing whiskey tastings for Macallan at the time, and we were bringing people in from travel retail, so all the people that work at the airports, and we'd pre-poured out 5 whiskies in a tasting mat, and we had about 150 people or so coming along to this one in Moscow, and it was some kind of big meeting room. Everything was in a tasting mat. 150 people filed in, but nobody sat. They all stood behind their seats, and then in unison, 150 people slammed back 5 drums one after the other. No questions. I hadn't even started my presentation. People didn't sit down. They just knocked back all the whiskey. And then they were like, that was pretty good. They were supposed to be there for an hour. And then they just said, which one's the most expensive? And I told them, and then they left. And that was the end of that. Yeah. Didn't even get through a presentation. And I did a kind of, there is a little island, the Bahamas, the Grand Bahamas. I've done a whiskey tasting in the Grand Bahamas before, which was fun. It's difficult to do whiskey tastings in very hot, humid climates. That's what I would say. It's kind of uncomfortable, and it's a bit weird.
Let's talk hot and uncomfortable. Let's go back to Russia.
That sounds like your Tinder profile.
Yeah, that's key. I'll just keep telling you word for word, basically. Yeah. And I was out in Siberia, right? And she could start to any story. And I was there with this big dude called Dennis, right? Dennis was like this massive sort of 6'2" big Russian, kind of looked like a heavy, just a big unit. And
like a menace. Like a Dennis.
Yeah, Dennis, like a big Dennis menace. And we're in this town called Irkutsk, right? And Irkutsk is, I can only describe it as a place where airplanes go to die. So when you fly in, like the elephant graveyard, you fly in, you just go past all of these old, basically redundant planes. It's just this big scrapyard, basically, at the side of the runway. And then you land on ice. It's Siberia. It's freezing. Yeah. I was there in January, February of that year. We'd been a few times, right? And we go out to Lake Baikal, which is this very famous lake, super deep, massive, but it's totally frozen. And Dennis is like, we'll get a few whiskeys and we're going to go for a Ruski Banya, which is a sauna. So within, I reckon, an hour of being in the country, I'm naked in a sauna, drinking a bottle of Macallan with
a
Dennis.
6'5" Russian.
Right. Now, what happens is you go outside of the Banya and you do like a 3-dip thing into the frozen lake. There's ladders that are frozen into the ice, and you go in, you do your 3 dips, and then you go back in. And when we go back in, there's another guy in there with shorts on, and I'm kind of like, who's that? And it's the guy that hits you with the birch branch, which is really, really good for your skin. So I'm freezing and then roasting, sipping on my whiskeys. I'm getting spanked. And me and Dennis are just, bonding over life, basically. And that was a memorable moment from Siberia that was interesting and not what I was expecting at all. No.
I think I've seen that video.
You might have. There was two.
We'll put a link in it to the show notes.
Exactly.
There was two extra strange things about it in Irkutsk. As I went into the town centre, do you remember the band Nazareth? They're from Dunfermline, right?
Yeah.
Their banners were all over the city centre, so they were going there the week after to play and fill some local stadium, right? And I was just, that's so strange. The first pub I went into was the Aberdour Inn, right? And so Aberdour's like, there must be this blended whiskey they sell in regional parts of Russia. And I go into the Aberdour Inn, and there's a big map on the side, another big scary dude behind the bar, and they've put Aberdour where Stirling is on the map. And I've gone over to the guy and just said, look, Aberdour's not there. It's actually on the coast. I'm from that area. It's in Fife. And he's like, no, Aberdour's in the middle of Scotland. And I'm going, no, it's not. It's on the east coast. He said, it's in the middle. And I was like, oh, okay. I feel like this isn't an argument I'm ever going to win.
To be fair, Russians knowing the boundaries of maps is always a tricky situation at the moment. So maybe.
Totally. Honestly, man, I
So
loved that
true.
place. Siberia was class. It was so fun. Irkutsk was a mental place. But that Baikal, Ruski Banya, Macallan thing was hilarious. I do remember coming home and just telling people that's what I got up to. They're like, is everyone all right? Do you want to speak to someone? Do you know what I mean?
Always funny when you need a counselling session after a business trip.
These were the days before HR, right?
Exactly.
Like,
I've just been
do your
spanked
job.
naked with a birch branch inside a sauna.
Character building.
Fantastic. Any more from the people out there on the interweb, Mitch?
I like this one. Finish off with this one. This is from HJP54. If you could own a cask of whiskey from any distillery, which one would it be and what cask type? I'll kick this one off. Anytime, and Nicholas, you probably remember this as well, anytime I tried a cask of Glenfiddich from the 1970s in ex-bourbon, it was always absolutely stunning. So that's definitely what I would go for. 1970s Glenfiddich ex-bourbon cask all day long.
I was doing this stuff last year, so in October we did this oldest single malt in the world, and it was the 85-year-old Glenlivet. And in my head, before I tasted it from Gordon MacPhail, I was like, this is going to be super woody, super like 85 years. It was a transport cask, so extra thick staves. It's very, very specific type of wood. There's not really anything like it that we use in the industry now, right? Laid down 1940 distillate, and it was one of the most tropical fruit salad, vibrant Glenlivets I've ever had. And I love Glenlivet for that. I think, Daz and I were chatting about this. Even with Bowmore, you see it. Old Bowmore does the same thing. You get these kind of more tropical fruit notes, mango and pineapple and all that kind of starts to bounce through a little bit towards old stocks. And that to me was just killer. And I just think if they want to give me another one of those casks, I would take it.
Yeah.
A 1940s 85-year-old cask of Glenlivet from Gordon MacPhail, not too shabby. And I'll tell you this, and I have tried, you guys and I, we all know, we've all tried old stock, and old doesn't make anything better. It's got nothing to do with it. But this had just matured beautifully. And I was like, kind of like what you're saying, Mitch, those 1970s Glenfiddichs, they're all the same. They've just matured really well. Some distilleries all have those little points where it was just right on the money at that point in time, where they'd a little parcel of barrels that were just killer, and somebody at the warehouse had the patience to let them go.
Yeah, I mean, I remember those going back to those Glenfiddichs. There was always like this strawberry kind of note. It was always like fresh fruit. You'd expect it to be, to your point, that you didn't expect to have fruity notes coming through from something so old, but it always hit those notes for me, and it just always ticked so many boxes. Daz, this is going to be a tough one for you. I mean, you've drunk so many old casks of whiskey in your life.
I like what you're saying. I would go interwar, era, something, not because it's old, just because things were different, and whoever made those whiskies, they're no longer here and stuff. That's what's special about whiskies from that era. So I would go back to sort of that similar time. If there was anything available, if it was a totally, free hit, is there anything available from the 30s or early 40s? That era would be fascinating. I'd love to get my hands on something like that. Just taste what those things were like. I think I've tried some stuff that was distilled in the 20s, but it wasn't still in cask. It'd been out of cask for quite some time by that point. But I like that idea of tasting really amazing history from a totally different generation of people as well, right? 1926, 1946. These are just generations apart now in terms of the people that put those things down. And I like to think of that when I sit and taste those whiskies, like what was going on around those times. My son, actually, it was funny, we were chatting about the Titanic, and you just look at the dates and think about the whiskies that were on board boats like that, significant historical events and the people that were involved and stuff. And that's 1926, not far away, from
those whiskies aren't great with ice, though.
No.
Oh, you just got to sink them in one. Do you know what I mean? Oh, come on. That was too easy.
Missed the dad jokes.
Indeed. Well, look, guys, this has been it. We've I mean, as always, these episodes, we tried to keep it under 40 minutes. It felt like 4 hours. But after
apologies.
Exactly, apologies.
Your hair's actually greyer now than it was at the start.
Oh, by the way, ain't that the truth? The truth. But look, it's been brilliant to get together with you guys. Congratulations on your 200th episode. I hope I get to come back on to celebrate your 300th episode, obviously in about 4 years when you get to that. Based on your output. I know you guys are all busy, and also I know the amount of dedication. You guys are doing a great job of talking about the industry, keeping people abreast of what's going on around the world of whiskey, and it is a massively valuable resource for everybody like myself who just love and live and breathe what it is that we do, specifically with Scotch, but whiskies from around the world as well. So thanks for keeping it up, and hopefully we shall have more to come.
Man. Thanks for coming on.
To have you back on.
It's always a pleasure to have you on the show. And as always, big shout out to everyone who listens to the show and has kept us going for 200 episodes. And thank you so much for your comments as well. It's been good having a bit of an interactive episode. This one, having everyone give questions and talk about what's been going on in the industry as well. But I think that's been a bit of a giggle. Good one to end the double a century on.
Yeah, 100%, a double century. But also, as we move forward, 5th anniversary is coming up. Mitch, you've got lots of lives scheduled. I need to schedule some. I haven't done any of that yet. It's been a mental few weeks at my point. But yeah, nice, great to have you back, Nick, mate. And thanks for jumping in and steering the ship once more. And I look forward to hearing the true story of New York once we've stopped recording.
And on that note,
cheers, guys. Thanks for listening. See ya.